Hi. Uh, I know I've been away for a little while. I do that. It takes a lot to get myself back charged up, and after you go through so much, I mean, uh, it's not easy being me. But anyway, uh, so anyway, what am I going to talk about? Well, let's see here. I was listening. I was listening to Kansas. You know the band? That's my favorite band. Uh, there's a song called "Relentless," and it says some things about we're all waiting to go on to what we see as the eternal, and we see like a wonderful place, and that's where we are. That's where we are. It's coming, and that's what we're all working for. Can we all be part of that? Yeah, we can. And if I had to ask of anything, the people that I do talk to on, say, like TikTok or uh, uh, YouTube, I'd say this: I can't do this by myself. You know, I can give a word that says this is where we want to go, and you can agree. But we still all have to do our little parts. Whatever part God's given you to do, or whatever part you choose to do. And that's being kind, knowing that we are here to be an example for what God intended, And what did He intend? Well, He intended us to be a good and kind and people that don't go around doing bad things to people. We don't even wish it. We don't think about it. And there are times when even I have my anger, but still I don't let that stay there. Uh, Nor will I. Because God knows we've all had enough to make us mad in this life. I mean, but we have to try to let go of that and feel it and go on, get done with it and be done with it and throw it away because it doesn't belong with us. The things that we do send little ripples out to the whole world. And if you ever notice, when you throw a rock on the water, it makes a ripple, and that ripple goes out and gets bigger. It's kind of like a tsunami wave. It starts off small, but by the time it gets to that ocean, by the next coast coming over, it goes to someone else's coast, it's a huge wave, and it's going to do some destruction. And that's the same thing that happens to us when we keep that stuff and we send out those ripples and bad, so we try not to do that. It's kind of like that. I mean, everything that we do has a it has a consequence, and the consequence may not hit us, it might hit somebody else, and so we have to be careful of that. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. Sorry about my look today, but hey, it's Saturday and I ain't. I'm being a bum, So I hope you can get over it, because I did. Anyway, I listen to all of your deals, and then I listen to all the people on TikTok, and I listen to all of them on YouTube, and you guys are pretty cool. I mean, if I had to say, I don't have a lot of friends, but because I don't really, I've just always been that way. I always felt like I was kind of weird, and I probably am, but I love hard, I love big, and but I tell you that once I get over it, if someone does me wrong, my cutoff game is really hard, and people don't get past that. I've got some of those people in my life somewhere, and they just want they want to hate me, and I guess they can hate me if they want to, because I'm not giving in to that. I'm not going to say, oh, it's okay, you can go and treat me like shit. I'm not going to do it. Because if nobody else cares about me, I know God does. And that is my purpose in life. I want to see everyone know who God is, and know that what the religious people tried to tell us, this fire and brimstone and all this. Well, he can get like that. But 9 times out of 10, I've never seen that. I've seen him get angry. He does get angry when it comes to defending his children, and then if someone's catching hell, if he sees enough of somebody doing one of his children wrong, and he'll watch it for a while, and we'll put up our fights. But when they continue to do it, and God finally does lose his temper, and when he does, I just wouldn't want to be those people. I sure would not, because people say, well, you're very strong. Well, okay, I'm very strong, but I don't come close to who God is. I'm telling you. To those people who hate me so much, well, those haters and whatnot, I would say, listen, I don't hate you, and I don't care to hate you. I don't, the fact of the matter is when I let you go, I let you go, and I'm not going to think about you much anymore. Because if I think about it and I start getting myself angry about it again, well, then that's just more shit I've got to deal with. And so I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do my best to say, okay, listen, that was a thing. It happened, and they still haven't answered for that, but I hear that they're getting all this karma. But I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't want to be getting that karma. They should have done what they told God they were doing. They lied to God. They didn't lie to me, because they just didn't even talk to me. They didn't say shit to me. They said it to God. And that makes that crime that much worse. I remember a story in the Bible where, after Jesus arose and he was in heaven, and they were building a religion, they called themselves the Sons of Light. And I guess there was some people who had to sell something, and then they were going to give all that money to this religion's endeavor. But they decided that they were just going to give them some of it, and they were going to keep the rest of it. And then whenever they gave it to him, of course Peter said, well, where's the rest of it? And they said something that was a lie. And the man said, well, he said a lie, he just dropped dead. And then they asked the woman, and she did the same thing, and she dropped dead. I'm not going to say something that's going to make someone drop dead, but I'm telling you that it's one thing when you lie to a person. It's a whole nother thing when you lie to the Holy Spirit. And these people call themselves Christians, that are doing this stuff, and then they go forth and they do things that is not very Christian-like. Or they're lying to the Holy Spirit when they do that. And the Holy Spirit's keeping count. I know that I'm not perfect. Do I lie? No, I don't lie. I really don't. I'm telling you the truth about it. Everything I say is the truth. But Of course, there's things I wouldn't tell you, so I don't want to be a liar. Yeah. But back in my younger days, I was probably a little heathen. So I mean, uh, I'm not perfect, and neither are you, and neither is anybody. And then so don't be afraid to be yourself, because none of us can judge us. God's the one who judges us. We don't judge us. I'm not judging you or them or anyone for the people that they are. I always tell the truth about what they did. I got no problem with telling the truth. And they don't like it. They want me to shut up, but I'm not going to shut up. If I don't want to shut up, I don't got to shut up. But I'm not going to be the one who dictates what happens to them for it. Oh, I've got my ideas about it, but it's not mine to say. When it comes to it, it'll be God who says what their punishment would be or their karma would be. I've got good karma coming. I like to think that I have no bad karma, but I listen. If I do something wrong, I'm just as responsible as anybody to what I do, and I have to stand up and take responsibility for that. And that's what everyone needs to do. It's important, because there always comes the weighing of the hearts, and when we go see our Maker, we're going to have our hearts weighed, and I hope that mine weighs as light as a feather. And so I do the work, and that's what the work is all about, And then we're all trying to get to that new earth. The new earth is built. It's out there. It's being built. And I've been watching this thing in the 3-eye atlas. I've been watching this, and this thing is not a rock. It may look like one, but it ain't no rock. I'm telling you, this thing it's got intelligence. And it makes our intelligence look small. It really does. And it seems to be doing stuff over here on the earth, and it does it from a long ways away. I mean, it's even proved that there are things that are faster than light. Wow. Einstein said that there's nothing faster than light, but there is. Because whoever owns this piece of this 3-eye atlas, whatever owns that, they are very, very advanced compared to us. And I don't think they mean us harm. I think really they're kind of waiting for us to meet, to make a certain. It's kind of like when we went to the moon. I think that they saw that and said, "Whoa, these guys are traveling to another world." Okay, and when we did that, we hit a milestone in our development. Okay, what I heard, and this is what they said. They said that there were, this is like 18 planets out there among our galaxy. I think it's the galaxy, yeah. And there are people. I mean, whether or not they look like us or whatever, I couldn't tell you that. But I did hear him say this much, that they are going to be around because they're going to make sure that nobody comes to take us over. Because there are hostile people out there, who would like to take our world and make it their own. And boy, wouldn't that be something? With all their advances, they could annihilate us and make us slaves to them. And that's happened before in mankind's deal. And of course, we don't all know it because they had a big flood that washed everything away. But the way I understand it, that happened, and that's what they were the ones telling me that. Could I tell you what they look like? No, I can't. But I can tell you what God looked like when He talked to me, and He had white hair. He had but when I stood there by Him, it was like He was a little shorter than I was, but I didn't have He had a lot more strength in him than I do, I'm going to tell you about something about God. God has taken all the time that we've, since Jesus died on that cross, that? Well, no, yeah. Uh, anyway, when he died on that cross, now that was God giving us a gift, because we couldn't have made it. We can't make it to heaven unless He gave us that gift, and so I want you all to see that gift. And to the people who haven't seen that gift, well, He died on that cross so that we would have to die on this earth and never come back awake, and never get to live forever. We would never get there. We just, the wages of sin are death, and there'd be nothing to save us. But there are such things as sacrifices in the world, and that's the way the Jews used to live, and they lived that way because God taught them that way. Yeah, you can. It's one thing to just do a sin. Each one of them is for death, because we are. Oh, shit, itching the hell out of my nose. But we, where was I? I hate it when I do that. Well, anyway, so, none of us are going to be perfect. All of us have, but we've all earned death, when it comes down to it. Me, you, everybody, and nobody gets to have an ego and say, no, I'm not, I'm perfect. No, you don't. Trust me. We all are just little demons, just running around here, in one part of our life or another, But God, darn my leg, I was just itching like crazy. Anyway, but God gave us a gift. He said, okay. He said, Abraham, go up there and sacrifice your kid. Only kid he had. And Abraham did it. He was just about ready to do it, and God said, whoa, hold up there, buddy. I just wanted to make sure that you would do it, because I'm going to do it for you. And that's what he did. And so when it came time, he did it. He put his son on that cross. And when he did that, he gave us an intercessor. The Holy Spirit he gave to us, he gave it to us. And no longer would we have to go and bring some poor little animal up there to die for something we did. Because that man paid for all those sins. And I know that's true, because he came to me one time, God came to me and he said, because I was screwing up, and I was supposed to be working with God, and I didn't show up. And so God said, and I was feeling bad. I was feeling guilty as hell for it. And God felt that, He said, son, what are you doing? I said, God, I was messed up. I said, God, I didn't want you to see me all messed up. He said, well, okay, listen. Okay, you screwed up. But my son paid for that sin. It's already paid for. How many times did you think that I've forgiven you? You didn't ask for it. I just did it. I just forgave you. You didn't even come to me and say anything. I said, yeah, you're right. You have. You've done that. I know you have. Why, I don't know, but you did. And he says, well, that's because my son paid for that sin, and that, so that's guilt that you're carrying around. I want you to get rid of that guilt, because I cannot work with that guilt. That guilt does not do you any good. It's not doing me any good, and it's not helping anything. So get rid of that guilt. Forgive yourself and move on, and get yourself back to work. All right, and all the times I was in church, they would say this stuff about being forgiven and all that, but you never really get it. But here comes the man who was really the guy who wrote the book on it, and came and told me that. So since then, that guilt doesn't rely on me anymore. I don't feel guilty about things. Sometimes I might feel a little guilty, because the Holy Spirit comes and convicts me of something I've done. But I realize it, and I say, well, I need to do better, and I'm going to do better. I'm going to do my best to do better. And I get rid of that guilt. I don't hold on to it. That's the way we all should be. And know that this guy up in heaven who sits upon us, sits on top of us all. We belong to him. You know, he created us. He created us to be in his image. And he loved us because we're of his image. And he gave us a little piece of himself in everyone's soul. That's why he can love us. Because listen, we ain't shit, you know, but when you put a little piece of God inside of us, we become somebody. We become something that is worthy of the forgiveness that he gives us, you know, and he loves us just like that, you know. And I know that he does, because I want you to look at this. Through all of our lives, through all of mankind's years, and there are many, for all the things that we've done and all the things that we continue to do, that he has been working all this time through people, through different things in our history. He's been working for one thing, to get us all to heaven, to get us back up to heaven, so he can have fellowship with us, so he can be our Father. And we have to get there. You know, he's given us all the things, and he's still doing it. He's building a new earth. I know, because I co-created with him. And he's building us a new earth. A new earth where we can shine about who we are meant to be. And we can shine. And, you know, they say I had this light. And I remember the day, and I was in spirit. He took me up there and got me in spirit. And he came up to me. I was kind of looking kind of like out at mountains or something, you know, looking how pretty it was, because the colors seemed to be more colorful, you know, and it was just a pretty place, you know. And he walked up to me, and he stood there beside me. He says, "I'm going to put part of myself into you. You're going to be like God, but you're not going to be God." I said, "No, I don't know how I could be God. I couldn't be that." But he said, "But know this, that when people look at you, they're going to see God. And I'm going to be looking at them, and I'm looking at them through your eyes." And I thought to myself, wow. Okay. He said, so I remember they took me from there, and they like stretched my soul. You know, it didn't hurt or anything, but that's what they said. "We're stretching your soul now so that I can be in there." I said, "Okay, that's cool. Whatever you want to do, God. You know, like I said when I met you, I belong to you, then you do what you got to do. You know, I'll go along with that." About what God looked like. He wore a red smock thing, but over it he wore a breastplate. I don't know that he had a helmet or anything to wear, but he had a breastplate on. I remember that. And, you know, then we sat and talked a while. I sat before his throne. He was sitting there. He said, "Okay, you're going to do all this for me. What can I do for you?" I said, "I don't know, God. You know, all I ever wanted was to have somebody love me and have a nice life. You know, what would we consider a nice life? Yeah, a nice home, and, you know, and I never asked for much, you know what I mean?" He says, "Okay, well, I can do that." I said, "Done." You know, now have I gotten it yet? No, but I'm working on it. You know, I'm sure that if God promised it, it's going to happen. But he didn't give me anything that he's not going to give you. If you are out there doing this thing and you're working together with this dream of mine, and this dream of mine is to see everyone love God the way I do, because I got to meet him, and maybe you'll get to meet him, or maybe you won't. But know this, know it through my eyes, that is God's cool. He's not a monster. He's not a big, you see they showed the only person who's ever really seen God in his own form was Moses. Yeah, Moses. And he said, sit there in that cleft of that rock right there, and I will go by and I will let you see the backside of me, because anything more than that would kill you because of all His glory. You know, I don't know that who I saw was a man, and I don't know if that was an angel of God or whatever. But I asked him, "Are you God?" He said, "Yes, I am." So, and I'm talking about, it wasn't Jesus, it was God. So there is a God up there, and there's Jesus who sits on the right hand of God. You know, and I foresee that someday we'll all be in that big hall, and God will be there, and so will Jesus, and so will all your ancestors, and we will be a multitude of people that nobody can count. And somehow I just know that we will see each other there, you know. And that's kind of what that Relentless song says. It's like, you know, we're waiting for that time, and it's going to come. And that may, you know, however you see that happening, I can only tell you this, that there's a real God. He is sitting up there and He's watching us. And now some of the things that are happening right now are just, you know, God knows it's happening. And, you know, God has a tendency to take even the bad stuff, you know, that happens with mankind. He doesn't waste anything, you know. I don't like Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump is a greedy. He's a monster to me. He doesn't say and I've never heard the man tell the truth. You know, so he's over there talking about how he's got Iran on the ropes and stuff. That's bullshit. He does not. Mr. Trump has started a war. It's not our war. I'd like to tell everybody that. Brings the memory. It brings a memory to a statement I saw one time. What if they held a war and nobody showed up? That's what I'd love to see happen to this one. That Mr. Trump would start a war and nobody shows up for it. That would be the thing. That's the way to go, you know. Because really, he's out there trying to steal people's oil and stuff like that. That's not the American people. That ain't us. We didn't do that. I think everybody needs to start thinking about who they're voting into office, and don't just vote them in because they're in office. The fact is, I think the smarter thing to do is, because they are in office, vote them out. That's the reality of it. That's what I think. I mean, because these people aren't doing their jobs. They're not doing it properly. If they were, then the first thing they would ever go with is diplomacy, and they don't have a bit of it. Not with Trump at the wheel. You know, that man doesn't know anything about diplomacy. No, he knows how to talk like an idiot. Okay, so that's just my opinion, and I'm entitled to it. And I kind of think that there'll be a whole lot more people who will go along with my opinion than they will Mr. Trump's. And I hope that if he's going to send our kids over there to war, that he doesn't forget to send his own. You know? Just saying. Let's make it fair. Start a war. At least let some of your kids go through it. You know? But the reason why we're all going to this new earth and getting to the 5D, and these are the words that God told me. I said, God, why are we doing this? Can you tell me? He said, yeah, I can. To stop all the wars. And I don't know what he meant like that, but That's what he said, and I always take God at face value. Exactly what he says, that's what he means. And so, we're off to a bad start, but you and I, we aren't Mr. Trump. You and I can be the beginning of that thing, because I'm telling you, we all have a spirit, and we all can act in that spirit. Remember to always err towards the kindness. Remember that. Err towards kindness. If you don't know what to do, be kind. If you can't be nothing else, be kind. If you're even mad, say, well, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to be kind. Do that. And I think that if we do that, and we've already jumped half the hurdles, of this deal. So, that's about all I got to say today, but I'm still the same guy. If I don't show up one day, 2 days, listen, I'm still here, and I'm still down with this, and I need all of your help. I need all of you to be the kind of people that most of the people I meet are. Very kind and nice individuals, who aren't out there picking fights and, doing nasty things to people. And be what God intended us to be. Help your neighbor, help your fellow man, whatever. Show the light that's inside of you because it came from God. Show that. And if you'll do that, you're helping me. And this movement that we started, I want to see you all there. I want to see that you are here with us. Be with us. If just in spirit, be with us. Because we're gonna change this world. That's what it's all about. We're gonna change this world to who God meant for us to be. That's what it's all about. It's no more simple than that. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Love God with everything you've got. Because if there's anybody in this universe that's worth loving, God is that guy. Because he's done a lot for us. He gave us a world to live in. He gave us the way to live. He told us what not to do because he loved us, not because he wanted to get us in trouble, because he wanted us to live the best life that we can and get to our higher self by being that. So anyhow, my name's Barry, by the way, or Greg. You can call me Greg, because all the people that know me call me Greg. That's my middle name, And I'm kind of the leader of this bunch. So, listen, I lead with love, okay? Because I love all the people that these light workers out there that came down here to help us, help people. They did it. They didn't have to. They didn't have to come. They did it because they wanted to. They wanted to see mankind. And those people that are out there on that three Alice, I thank you. I thank all of you guys. Because I know that you're here to help mankind evolve. I know what you're here for. Whether the scientists want to acknowledge it or not, I don't care. I know what you're here for. Don't be afraid of it. It's not here to hurt us. It's here to help us grow. Because what they tell us is we're not ready. But that doesn't mean we can't get ready. And we can. And we can do it by showing kindness. Showing the spirit that God gave us to work with, in a good way. And don't think that there's not enough so you got to steal everybody else's. Don't be that guy. Be the guy that, hey, I'll give it all. You can have it all. If I can just see this earth get to that point where they're going to evolve and be what God intended us to be, because He made us for a reason. There are angels right now who are in trouble, and they're waiting for their judgment day, and then they're getting forgiven. But they knew what they were doing when they did it. You know what I mean? And but we were still young, and we didn't know everything. And they gave us all the bad stuff. and made God's job just a little bit harder, and he's pissed about it. So there's no forgiveness for them, but there is for us. So live like you're going to live forever. Know that you're going to live forever if you just follow these rules that God put forth, and that means, all those commandments He told us. Do them. Be that person. Okay, and if you just be that person, then you're helping me. You're helping me get us there. We're gonna get there. I promise you that we're gonna get there. Because God always tells me when I think the times look pretty bad, and God, can I pull this one off? Whew. He said, God always comes. He always comes to me. He says, "Don't worry, I'm going to get you there." So, and I believe Him. And at that point, I believe Him, and I always win. These people have not been able to defeat me yet, and they're like they want to win at all costs. They don't care. They just want to beat me just one time. But God's not going to let them win because I love Him. And God loves me. And He loves you. He loves you and you and you and you. He's not going to He's going to make sure that you make it. Just ask Him, God, please make sure I make it. Make my kids make it. And God's going to tell you, okay, you asked for it, and that's a good request, and I'm going to grant that request. You're going to make it. Okay? So, what does it say? Okay, well, I love you, and God bless you all. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.